Welcome back to Spotlight Television. Did you know that choking is a leading cause of accidental death in children and in people over the age of 65 in the United States? More people die from aspirating than in fires, drowning, or accidental shootings. One child dies every 5 days from choking, and these deaths can be prevented. When Arthur Lee visited a friend in the hospital years ago and learned more about these choking statistics, he decided something needed to be done. Arthur Lee is the founder, inventor, and CEO of LifeVac. Arthur used his inquisitive mind, business, and building skills to find a solution and persevere to end choking tragedies. LifeVac is a portable, non-invasive airway clearance device used to rescue a choking victim. He has built LifeVac into an international medical device company that is dedicated to saving lives. LifeVac has since received widespread media attention and has saved lives ranging in ages from 3 to 97 all over the world. Please welcome Arthur Lee to Spotlight Television. Arthur, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you. Obviously, such a huge, important topic. You guys are saving lives, and that's what this is all about. But let's go back to the beginning. Tell me about the company. Tell me a little bit about LifeVac, and tell me about, I told the story a little bit, but tell me why you started this company and kind of what the vision was from the start.
Well, I was visiting a friend in the hospital. His mom was having an operation. He's a good friend of mine my whole life, and I was just keeping him company. And he pointed over at one of those steel gurneys, and he said, you know, last time I was here, there was a 7-year-old on that gurney. I choked to death. And he went on to describe the wailing of the parents and the staff and him and his mother. And that moment of intense sadness and their whole lives being disrupted. My daughter was 7. And, you know, it was pre-TikTok. There's no phone. We were just folks sitting there, and I'm listening and looking at that gurney and thinking if my little girl was there. She was in my arms when she passed. And I said, that can't happen. So that night I went home and started researching. That's when I found out some of these horrible statistics, how often it happens. And I became determined to make something to save her. That was my first mission.
And where do you start with something like that to even come up with a design? Do you talk to medical professionals who are working in the field? Like, where do you even start to come up with something like?
The start was I wanted to see the force, right? There were 2 major studies called Langhill-Gouldner that showed the force the Heimlich generates. And then I found out that the problem with those, and we beg people to get trained and learn those protocols and do those protocols, that sometimes the human body just produces no force, 0. You're squishing them and they don't have air. They're too big, you're too small. There's numerous reasons. So I found out what the force level was. And then I wanted something that was non-invasive. I didn't want to put a tube. I'd be scared enough. If my daughter's life's in my hands, I'd be terrified. So I worked with something that was non-invasive. And then I said, you know what? Plumbers unclog pipes. Let's dumb it down. I'm going to be panicking. I want it super simple. And I experimented a little bit with some different ideas, and I went to Home Depot, and I found a little sink plunger. And that night I pushed on my felt, and I felt a pop. And by now I said, okay, that's probably enough to remove what's stuck. And then I attached the mask, and it worked. And then it was off to the races for final design and medical testing.
Wow. You know, I think the key point that you touch on there is that, and no one really thinks about this, is that when you're in that situation, the panic part of it that your body is going through is something nobody can gauge what they're going to feel like. So the ease of use, which we'll get more into, is such a key component to it all.
I appreciate you saying that. That's the truth. And I built it of me and thinking of my daughter's life, how freaked out I would be. So I said, I want it simple for me. And then as I progressed, and I got a gobwink that said, I can't be the only one. I got to bring it to the public. And that was the key, to make it super. You just take that plunger, push it, and pull it, and it sucks it out, and you thank God that you had it.
Yeah, so let's talk a little further about the device. So describe now the device that has gone to market. Talk about, are there different ones, what do you offer, and then obviously talk about how exactly it works.
Well, I'm in the 4th quarter of life. I tried to make it as humanitarian as possible. So each kit covers family, adults, and pediatrics. It lasts forever. If you use it, we give you a free one. We make it in America. So it has an adult and a child mask. The home kit comes with a practice. So you can play with it a little bit, get comfortable so that you're less panicked in that moment. Over the 2,000 plus saves, we've had people say, I never even looked at it, I just took it out and pushed it. And that was my goal, that even if you didn't play with it or didn't look at it, it would still save a life. And that was the foundational work from the panic, make it simple. When you push it down, the air vents out the side. You can't push it in. It pulls 300 millimeters of mercury, which is a hard cough. And knock on wood, we've never had it fail, and we've never had it hurt anyone. And we've saved over 1,300 children that I've got to meet and hold and see and look in the parents' eyes and know that their lives weren't devastated forever. And, you know, this awareness is just to make people aware. It happens a lot, and you could do something about it. And that's all I want in life. I don't want those people to have to lose a child or a spouse or a parent.
You referenced before the Heimlich maneuver, and I guess growing up, that's kind of what we knew.
Yeah.
You know, as a child, just to throw a little personal story in here, I had a choking incident as a child, and I'll never forget it. I choked on a quarter. My parents were out to dinner. They literally walked in the door as I swallowed it. And, you know, they didn't know the Heimlich. My father just turned me over and smacked my back as hard as he could, and thankfully it came out. But, you know, most people think of the Heimlich as the only thing that they know. And a lot, like you said, a lot of people don't have the training. Talk a little bit about, you've talked a little bit about the ease of use, but why the LifeVac is so much different, easier than somebody trying to figure out and get trained in doing the Heimlich maneuver?
Well, like you said, there's a lot of physical elements. You know, if your spouse is small, they can't even get your arms around you. But the real place that it needs to be in that limitation of the Heimlich, people with disabilities. If you're in a wheelchair, you're bedridden, you have certain bone conditions, you cannot be Heimlich. You have nothing. And there are organizations out there that, an organization called Equal First Aid, that is bringing that to light, that they deserve an option too. You look at the choking post, it's very nice, guys standing up nicely. What about the person in a wheelchair? So my passion has been schools and special needs. We lose 8 kids last year died in school, almost 100 since I've started. I have given away almost 10,000 LifeVacs to school. I will give a free LifeVac to any school in America. Has to stop. These kids are supposed to go home from school. And those that have a challenge deserve an equal chance. So that's kind of where you get into that realm of why LifeVac and not just the Heimlich. Please, get trained. It's, you know, learn it. You squish someone, great, do it. Do it right away. But it doesn't always work. And it can't always be done. And we can't have lives being lost because they don't have a simple sink plunger, right?
Yeah.
So let's change things for the better.
Yeah. You talk about schools, and it just makes me think about, obviously, you know, the political nature, I guess, of schools, or the communication between you guys and schools. Have you had communication with local school districts, local governments, to make this something that has to, why is this not, and maybe it is, you could tell me, but why is this not in every single school? Why is it not demanded that it's in there by every parent, by every school board, by every principal, by every board of ed, that LifeVac, one or many, are in a school just as an AED is? Well,
you're speaking as someone with a brain and common sense. The world has become very cowardice and fearful of anything, right? So we get a lot of, we're not allowed to have it, which is the opposite of the law, particularly the federal ADA, American Disability Act. You're supposed to be able to save someone with a disability. So it's a lot of misconception and fear. Some schools embrace it. You know, we have 10,000 plus schools that have put it in. We've had 21 saves in schools. But then you have this bizarre world of fear. Oh, we'll get in trouble, which is crazy because now you're getting sued for not having it. So it's been an uphill battle of our changing society, right? We're afraid to do something. The government didn't tell me to do it. I'm not allowed. And the law is you have to do anything reasonable. We have the EFA has legislation, I think it's 7 states now, to have it required in school for our children with disabilities to have an option. It's been very frustrating. When I see a kid die in school, that's when I said I'll give it to you. It's free, because there were budget concerns. And I said, all right, now it's free. Now what are you going to say? I will give it to you. How's that? So we're making progress. You can see it gets me riled up because it's so frustrating. We devastate families with kids in school when we have a simple thing that lasts forever. Buy it once, put it in your school. But we'll get there. It's just frustrating that we've changed to be so fearful.
I want to go back a little bit so that the parents watching can understand. In my opening, I talked about how you've saved everything from age 3 to 97 all over the world. Let's talk about the 3. Let's talk about the young kids. Talk about how it works with young kids. Is it any different than older kids? Is there a different size? Is there any different force?
Well,
explain how it works with kids.
Fortunately, the human body is kind of my baseline, right? You can cough. Any kid can cough at 300 millimeters, only 160 millimeters, short burst of air, can't suck out your lungs. So we've actually saved younger kids. We had a kid 2 weeks old that was saved. The principle's all the same. It's a little different mask, but it pops in, right? And quite frankly, if you use the wrong one, it's still gonna work. And I haven't met these kids. I had a little boy, I went to shake his hand, and I said, nice to meet you, JR. And he jumped up on me, and he put his hands around my arm, my neck, and my legs, and he said, thank you for saving my life. And I've gotten to meet probably 10 kids, and I can't really explain it. God goes right through your body, because you're looking and feeling that kid, and you're looking at the parents. And I had tragedy in my life. I know what that pain is. They don't have to have it. And that's my gift.
Yeah, that's incredible. I don't even know how you could imagine what that feels like.
I cry every time.
Yeah, how could you not? So you may have mentioned it before, but again, I want to just make it clear for the audience. Do you know how many lives at this point LifeVac has saved?
Yeah, I think we're at 1,600 kids and like 2,600 people. I would guess we've saved many more, but that's the gift of giving without knowing. I'm sure they got saved, they didn't tell us. But those are the ones we've documented, we've quantified, qualified, and registered as a complete usage with no adverse effects.
Yeah.
And now there's actually 9 medical journals, peer-reviewed medical journals on its safety and effectiveness, and I think 4 or 5 of them actually have documented saves in them.
So, and I'm assuming people reach out to you when there's some of the ones you've learned about. I'm sure people have reached out to you, whether it's the parents or local community, to let you guys know. Of all the stories you know, and of course, when it comes to things like this, everyone is the most important one to that parent. But of all the ones that you guys know about, have saved, is there 1 or 2 that you could give us a story that really stick out?
The first one was Godwink. We had, I guess, had been going 4 or 5 years. Development, testing, making sure it worked, getting medical force, all this stuff, FDA. And I got a text from my guy in the UK, and he said, hey, we saved our first life. My daughter, Jackie, was standing right in front of me. She was there in the garage from the beginning. I made it for her. She was my wingman on it. I said, honey, we saved the first life. I was starting to cry. She was starting to cry. Call him up. What happened? It was a nurse. It was an elder care. A person choked. They did protocol. It didn't work. Jackie took the plunger and saved her life. I said, did you say Jackie? He said, yeah, the nurse's name was Jackie. First person to use a life. I'm getting chills again. First person to save a life. Same name as my daughter, who I made it for. Persevered for 5 years in the UK. That was him saying, I told you you were going to be okay. And that'll always stick out as a special save. The kids too, every kid. It's just, when I get to hold them, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and like we said, everyone's the most important one to somebody.
Yeah, well, when you hold the kid,
yeah.
that becomes the most important.
Yeah. So let's talk about the company a little bit. Obviously, sometimes companies in your situation, you have a hugely successful product and maybe you start thinking about other verticals and other things. It seems like you guys are solely focused on saving lives. Is there anything else that the company is looking to branch out and do? Will there be other versions of LifeVac? Will there be upgrades to it? Are there ways you guys have thought of technology or something that can advance it? Tell me a little bit about what the company's thinking right now moving forward.
The company is thinking to solve this problem. My goal, first time in the history of man, is to eradicate a leading cause of accidental death. I want news to be someone choked, not 5,000 a year, 0, 1, where it's on the news because it's a freak accident that people think it is. No, we're just full blown on this. It's funny. I guess sometimes you just get it right? You hit the first ball and it goes in the hole and you never get another hole in one. The force levels, the simplicity of use, the durability, lasts forever. It's worked in every circumstance, documented in medical journals. We got it right. And now I just have to get it to where it needs to be. And this helps. This is huge to help get the message out. It doesn't have to happen. Let's stop it.
Schools, hospitals, nursing homes, are there places where you guys haven't been able to break down that wall and get to that you want to, or you kind of have, but it's not enough? I'm sure every place is not enough.
It's everywhere, but not enough. Exactly right. Yesterday we were on Fox with a police officer saved a life, and they caught it on his body cam. Our heroes in blue, man, they are probably the biggest proponents, and they've probably saved the most visible lives with their body cam. I think we have 4 now. They're the ones that have to be there, front line, with the kid, parents screaming. So definitely would love to get every officer equipped. They got enough to deal with. If we can take one brick off their shoulders, the schools, the special needs. Those are the must-haves, right? Trust me, EMS, they've been great. They've outfitted too. And I think, and parents, I mean, you want to take your chances. It's America. You don't have to get it. Don't get a fire extinguisher. Live. But you got kid, I mean, we pulled out toys and bricks and paper and plastic and leaves and coins. I mean, it's just not worth it.
So let's talk about the next, year to 5 years. What are the goals? How can people help? And then obviously the most important thing we can do is tell people where they can get more information, where they can get LifeVac if they're interested. Give us all of that.
I think, we've done this with a small group of people. We've been opposed by the government. We've been opposed by organizations, right? Oh, it's not tested, it's not enough. So it's just been people, me, you, my friends, and then the proponents who've gotten it, saved a life, become advocates. So my recommendation, go to LifeVac.net and get one. If you have a child, an elderly, or your spouse, might not be able to be home, protect yourself, and then help ADA. Let's make sure our kids are wheelchairs and are challenged, have protection, our schools. And heck, if you can, support our men in blue. Let's get them to the police, work together. I'll cut the price. I'll give it to every school. I just want to leave this planet knowing these people are alive and they didn't have to suffer a life of 4 minutes. That's what it takes. Your life is devastated in 4 minutes. And if we do it together, forget everyone else. It's just good people. Let's be good people. Let's work together and let's fix this problem.
LifeVac.net, you said to go get one and check it out. Now, as far as the educational part of it, is that all also, is LifeVac.net the best place to go for the educational part of it as well?
Yeah, our training video covers protocol so that we try and let you be a little more skilled and prepared without a LifeVac. And then it does a demo on LifeVac on how to use it, intricately how to do it. In the kit is emergency instructions and practice instructions. It's like anything. You play with it, you practice a little bit, it's going to be, you're going to be a little better at it. It's going to work. Freak out. It'll still work. But so, don't be intimidated by it. It's simple and it'll save a life.
Yeah, and I just want to go back because again, you guys seem to be going, you guys just go the extra mile and everything. You said if you're in a situation, God forbid, where you have to use it, the company is willing to replace it for you, absolutely free, no charge. You'll give them another one because obviously you said once you use it, you kind of want to start.
I just don't. It's the bellows would be difficult to clean, and that I would have a moral compass of comfort that you cleaned it well enough. So I'd rather just give you a good one, another one. I love to hear it. It's good scientifically. It's good for our morale. If you see our Hall of Saves, we have pictures of 2,000 people on the walls that we have saved. I was in there today to get motivated. I look at those faces, right? But the whole thing is built on ethics. It lasts forever. It's not expired. You got to buy a new one. Covers children and adults. I said, you got to make one for each. You'll make more money. Make it expire. You make more money. It's $69.95. You get a discount code. It's less. It's reasonable, and it lasts forever. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you use it, they give you a free one.
I'm just sitting here thinking about it too. Like when you think about the public, the more this gets out into the public hands, and you have families who go to dinner who just, they take it. They take it like just another piece of something. They have it with them. They have it in the car. And then you're in a restaurant. Some emergency happens, you're there. I mean, that's the point you want to get to, where it's just as available as any other common use thing would be.
Well, we've had some of the really beautiful stories are the Good Samaritan stories, right? I have it in my diaper bag, I save you. There are still good people out there. Baby Gabriel was saved at an Eggs Up Grill in South Carolina. The guy had it in his car for 6 years. That's my father. He made me make it last forever. That's what he did. Goes out, gets it, saves the baby. He had it in his car.
Yeah.
For his family. But he gets up, goes out, and saves that child. And now they're friends out now, and they have a bond.
Sure.
And I got to be there for the baby's first birthday and meet them all, and we're all bawling and hugging, and the humanity of being able to help someone else. And we've had a lot of those, and they're all heroes because they are what we're supposed to be. I'm a good person. I'm going to help you, and that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, it's great stuff. We covered a lot of important information. Arthur Lee, LifeVac.net is the place people can go. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, man. This is the way we change the world, and I appreciate it greatly.
Absolutely. Great people, great stuff. LifeVac.net. Check it out. We've been rolling footage of, obviously, it in use, but if you want to see more, go to LifeVac.net and check it out. And I want to thank you for joining us until next time, right here on Spotlight Television.